Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And in the nick of time, Vanita has joined us. We haven't had a chat this morning yet. So, good morning, Vanita. How are you?
Good morning, Jan. Gosh, I think I was just a bit late, so my apologies. Good morning,
I
everybody.
was, I was wondering, are you going to join us or not? Because
I was just on a different profile on Facebook, and I had to read. Never mind. It's one of those
well,
mornings, but it's all good. It's all good.
you did well. You just slipped in at the bottom. So,
I know. I know.
all right.
Yes.
We unfortunately did not have the chance to have a chat about this before the time. So, the big question would be: is it as doom and gloom as everybody else is saying?
Well, I don't know whether you're aware. Yesterday, we had two lots of changes that came through from immigration. And I know that a lot of people are sort of saying, oh, Erica promised all these things before they came into government, and now, they're just pulling the rug off from under, people's feet and so on. So I think a reminder would be, and some people may have not been in the industry or aware of it, in 2019 was when the Labour government said that skill level 4 and 5, people on essential skills work visas on skill level 4 and 5 will be unable to support their partners or their dependent children on visas, provided they either earned a certain amount or, and these people had to sort of apply for their own visas in their own rights. Now, that was obviously parked because COVID hit and it was forgotten about.
Okay.
And it's raised its head again, and I shouldn't say it's its ugly head. So the thing is this, Jan, I think people sort of need to realize that people on skill level 4 and 5 and skill roles had never had a pathway to residence, even prior to all this new residence categories and so on. They never had a pathway to residence unless they earned the remuneration, which was 1.5 of median
Bring
wage.
their wife and kids as well, right?
They could bring their kids, and that was obviously socialized with the community in 2019, where they weren't able to bring their kids,
Yeah.
and that was going to go into policy. But then COVID happened, and nothing went into policy. Now they've brought it back, saying now they can't bring their children. The children have to come on international student visas if they're domestic students, and their partners can only come in on visitor visas or have their own visas in their own right to stay as long as the level 4, 5, and skill role person needs to come in.
Okay. So
So,
just clarify something for me here. I'm just looking at this from a total different perspective because I
sure,
haven't read anything about this yet, to be quite
yeah.
frank. What is a level 4 or 5? What type of jobs is that?
So those are seen as the unskilled roles, and they've always been seen as the unskilled roles where, you didn't need a qualification. You only need 1 year of work experience and so on to come in. And those are for instance, like your labor hire companies, your laborers, your construction workers and so on that come in for a short period of time, help with projects and then leave. So that's always been the thinking behind it. It's never changed. It's just that now we've given them 5-year visas. But then that changed in, sorry?
What did they get in the past?
They got 3-year essential skill work visas, but now from the 6th of April this year, we've changed it now to 2-year work visas and a 3rd year if they are eligible for a 3rd year. So we're
Okay.
kind of going back to the old settings, and this is the old settings and old policies. So to be honest, it's not an unfair policy. It's always been there. I think people forget and they think it's a new policy, and National's been so harsh on them and so on. What has happened, though, in the last 2 years when accredited employer work visas came in is that ANSCO was completely forgotten about. They didn't care about ANSCO. They only went on remuneration, saying you've got to earn median wage. If you earn median wage, you can get a 3-year visa. Doesn't matter. And the pathways to residence were parked at that time because we just opened the borders.
Oh, yeah.
So we knew it was 160 points. We knew it was 160 points, and these people either met it or didn't meet it, and most likely 99% did not meet the pathway to residence anyway.
That's
So
right.
it's not different to anything that has happened yesterday.
It's not.
And
It's not really doom and gloom. It's just putting the policies more openly.
exactly, and it's more prescriptive in the sense that you have a pathway to residence or you don't have a pathway to residence. Now,
That's
some
right.
people on skill level 4 and 5 roles, they earn 200% of median wage because they are highly skilled. or they earn 1.5 of median wage, and those people have a pathway to residence. What has been so the new residence pathways came about in October last year. So I totally get that some people either met the 160 or 180 points and then they weren't able to apply. And then when the new pathways came through, they have no pathway. And what has been unfortunate is the trades workers have been caught in this. They're skilled workers. They have qualifications. A lot from South Africa as well have qualifications. It's just that they are in this situation where they're not earning 1.5 of median wage. And now, because they don't hold a degree as a minimum, they cannot apply for residence. And that's the unfortunate bit that a lot of South Africans are in at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where I suppose, and a lot of them came in on the premise that, there's 17 trades occupations that are going to go onto the green list, which never happened. Now, the thing is, I always said, if it's not in policy, you can't bank on it and you can't hope that it's going to go into policy. So those people may have not followed their due diligence and came in on a hope, on a hope and a prayer, and it unfortunately affected them in a negative way. So that is unfortunate. Yeah.
I want to put something out there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of advisors, and I'm talking about migration advisors.
Yes.
And I'm not going to name any of them, but the problem is they give their people false hopes. I'm listening to these stories on a daily basis. And
yes.
I can say something about you. You are a straight shooter.
Look,
it's not going to work.
Because the thing is, Jan, if I'm a person sitting in front of an expert like yourself and I'm asking them, Jan, I've got cancer, what are my options? Because like you're in insurance, right? And this is my policies, you have to tell me straight up, this is your options, And the thing is, I'm a person who wants to know the truth. I don't want sugarcoating. I don't want a soft sort of approach saying maybe if, because the thing is, I suppose people hear what they want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But the thing is, you need to know what all your options are and go in with your eyes open and know that, look, I'm taking risks and those risks are on me, and I saw yesterday with these announcements of the skill level 4 and 5 where you can't support partners and dependent children. I saw a lot of advisors saying, look, it's so unfair. I'm not going to support national anymore. Erica Stanford has made all these promises and so on. But the thing is, if you've been in the industry long enough, you know that these have already been announced. They were just parked. And based on what the landscape is currently, because we opened the border up and we opened it up to so many unskilled, low-skilled workers. We brought in so many kitchen hands, construction workers that have no pathway, and that's what's flooded the market and increased unemployment and so on,
So these people can still come. They can come and earn a living down here for a period of time.
The thing is, they can still come in. They can obviously come in on their own if they're on level 4 or level 5. They can work for 2 years and then they can leave. And some people are okay with that.
Yeah.
Some nationalities like Filipinos, they do this all the time and they go back to the Philippines,
They really come and live here permanently as well.
Exactly. And so it's not like it's totally closed. It just means that there's that family separation, unfortunately, I should say. But you know that already, and people are happy to do that, knowing that they can go in for a few years and do that. Some skill level 3 people, like we worked with the South African, I worked with the South African, and they knew that they were coming in and they had no pathway to residence. The person got a 5-year work visa, and they knew that, but they accepted the role, knowing fully that this is what's going to happen, So it happens, but you just need to know what those options are.
Yeah, and I mean, you get migrant workers all over the world working in all over different countries, and they just go there for a period of time, earn some money, and then go back.
Correct. Yes,
so
exactly.
It now does not allow the family also to come without having their own visas. That's how I understand that.
That's correct, yes. It's
Um,
just that, look, I mean, our schools are overcrowded, our health systems are overcrowded, and so on. So, what they're saying now is if you're bringing your children along, or coming through, um, and these changes happened yesterday. So, if anybody had applications in process and if it's approved, they won't be affected. It's the ones that are uh, coming in from today onwards, or from the 26th onwards that are affected. The thing is, our schools are overcrowded and so on as well. So we need to somehow stop the influx of the low skilled and only bring in those people and support those people that are skilled and that can live and have a pathway to residence.
okay. All right. Yeah. So that's the only changes that really happened.
So there's also changes. Well, currently, I think the government is in talk about increasing the residence fees across the board for skilled migrant workers, and they're looking at a substantial increase. Now, we don't know what that substantial increase is going to be, but right now the fees are about $4,300 for a family unit that's applying for residence, and they're looking at possibly increasing it to maybe 6,000 to 8,000 when you're applying for residence. Now, those people that are going on straight to residence, the fees are exactly what you've seen on the website. A lot of people will be able to start applying for residence, meeting their 3-year work experience in New Zealand, making their 6 points and so on. From the beginning of, I should say, from the end of this year, say from October onward, to next year. That's when they start meeting their 3 years and so on of applying for residence. And this is possibly where the fee increases are going to happen for residents. So it's a substantial increase.
Okay, when will this increase? This is somebody
We
asking.
we don't know. The government has not announced it. We know that the visitor levies are going up because that's already been announced and there's been a consultation. There's no consultation about the residence fees, and there may not necessarily be one. It's just that the government has said that the people using the system for immigration and those that benefit from it need to understand that the government or the department needs to be profitable, and they're not at the moment. And this is why the fees will likely increase so that they can be self-sustaining.
Okay, and the visitors, the payment for the visitors, how much is that going to be?
I think it's increasing from $35 to $75. So it's not a huge amount, but it goes to DOC and so on for all the visitor levies, which obviously improves those departments. So that's not a huge increase. It's just the residence applications that are likely to increase the fees on that.
There's talk about a fee entering New Zealand or leaving New Zealand for visitors from foreign countries.
That's the levy, I think, that they're talking about.
Okay,
Yes.
on the visitor's visa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of countries that doesn't need visas to come to New Zealand.
Correct, and they will still have a levy. So that's an international visitor levy that they will pay. So that's going to happen. So I think that once that's announced, that will go through.
All right. Somebody asking, are you ready for a few questions?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Coffee and everything. All right. Monique Olivier asking, more visitors visas, English translation documents. What is that about?
So with immigration, they've always said that if you have documents in another language, like Afrikaans, it has to be translated officially into English for them to assess it. Now, they've obviously announced saying that on visitor visas, if you are providing documents that are not in English, they need to be officially translated. So they've just made it a bit more clearer that they need to be officially translated. Nothing new again. It's all current policy, I've had documents in Italian that needed to be officially translated because there's no way, like, you can understand it. So I think for South Africans, where you have bank statements and policies in Afrikaans, and if you're thinking of immigrating, you should probably ask the companies to provide those documents in English, so it will save you the hassle of actually having it translated.
All right, question coming. Hi, Jan and Vanita. May I ask, are these changes affecting the processing time of the AEWV Level 3? Been waiting 7 weeks. When we initially applied, the wait time was 6 weeks. Now it's 4 months.
It is, yeah. Unfortunately, yes. Yes. So job checks are taking 6 to 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Accredited employer work visas are also taking about the same amount of time. So employers are very frustrated because
Oh yeah.
they're waiting a long time to get somebody into the company. So if you think about it, 18 weeks, 18, 20 weeks, that's how many? 5 months, 6 months. Then you've got to give your resignation in, so that's another 30 days. Then you've got to hop onto a plane and come through. So employers are pretty much waiting maybe 5 to 7 months to get somebody into the country.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and it's not changing.
Brian just saying that half the people working at immigration are South Africans, so Afrikaans should be fine. So,
I know, but you know what? Like every other country, they want it in English, and it's got to be officially translated in English, and it costs money. It does.
it is. So yeah. Another question from Marika Brown asking, will any of the straight to residency green list tier one jobs get removed?
It's possible because if you look at all of the work that MB, because Ministry of Business Innovation and Employment are doing, and all the and Stats New Zealand as well, there's a hell of a lot of documents. The government is doing a hell of a lot of work in terms of getting statistics, getting reporting out there, and then being the immigration minister making decisions.
Yeah.
Now, these documents are released after those decisions are made, but you can see the amount of work that's going in there. So it's very likely with the market changing and the amount of people being available now to take on roles. There's way more electricians, even though they're on the tier two green list occupation list. There are so many people in the market right now looking for work or being made redundant, and so on. So it's likely to change and be revamped. Yes.
Okay. I just know about somebody who was in the electrician type of field, made redundant.
Yeah.
He has applied to nine places after that and got all 9 jobs.
Oh wow.
There's
Okay.
still a bit of a
Yeah.
lacking of specific things, which is quite strange.
Yeah. The thing
Yeah.
is, though, I think that a lot of companies, because salaries are so high right now, and they've got to pay so much money and so on, a lot of companies are either struggling and they're realizing, look, there's not a lot of work out there and so on. And I suppose in the financial year, people are slowing down. People are not making the decisions that they were making, and the market's not as robust as what it was. That's the reason why people are losing their jobs. But then on the other hand, someone's getting a job from nine places, applying to 9 places
Yeah.
and getting roles in 9 places. So yeah. So it all
So
depends.
my one question, and it's a burning question, and I know you haven't got your crystal ball with you this morning.
Yeah.
What is government going to do about our health system? How are they going to bring in more doctors and nurses?
I think they are definitely looking at it because obviously they announced on the green list and so on that these guys can go straight to residence and so on. But I know that, and you've obviously heard this as well, that they want to have their own homegrown nurses and doctors, and they want to introduce another school, possibly in Hamilton Medical School, to be able to produce this. I think like every country, we're all fighting for those skills, and people are going to those countries that are paying more, and maybe the work conditions are better. I mean, let's face it, New Zealand is expensive currently to live in. Compared to what it was a few years ago. The salaries are not as high as what they used to be. Those people that have options to go, with their age and everything else, they can go to countries that are paying better salaries are doing that.
Yeah.
So New Zealand is slowly falling at the bottom of the list and the choice of country to be in compared to other countries, So I think they're working very hard to get everything the word back on track. They really are trying. You can see that. And they're making hard decisions that are not necessarily favorable and accepted to people. But if you look at it and you look at it in an objective way, these are not new policies, nothing new. They're just trying to clean up what they can so they can move forward.
Yeah. And the important part is we need to move forward. Point one, we need to move forward under our medical.
Yes.
We need doctors and we need nurses at a massive stage. It's good of them to start up a new medical school, but that's a 5 year down the line solution.
Exactly.
Only
Yes.
it's not a now solution.
And the thing is, though, it's the same with the schooling system as well, being so overcrowded with all, we in the 2021 resident visa had brought in so many new migrants,
Yeah.
and those even low-skilled ones that were maybe not eligible to be applying for residence, they all were granted residence. So, I mean, the thing is, even new schools, we need all of that, but that's a 5 year plan or longer, you know. And the thing is, the government doesn't have money. So where do they get the money from? So they need to find some ways of doing that.
But even our and the tier 4 and 5 workers that we need a heck of a lot more of them.
I think if we get people off the benefit, you'll probably find that there's a lot of those people that can be.
Gonna happen.
Look, I mean, while we're saying it's not going to happen, they are holding those job seekers, and you probably heard on the news that they're having case officers revisit these people and asking them why they are not in jobs. And the thing is, I think they'll probably slowly find that their benefits are going to be reduced or cut off if they are not taking up jobs. So we need those people in jobs before we can actually bring in migrants that, are complementing or supplementing the people that just don't want to work. Because it's our taxpayers' money that are paying for them, being on the benefit. Yeah.
I fully agree. And the big problem is, but your lower workers are really needed as well as workers.
You know what, Jan, they're always going to be needed. They're going to be needed in the infrastructure sector, the construction sector, absolutely. And that's not going to really change as such, and that has never changed. It's just that they need to get other people job ready, skilled, and getting them into jobs. So, yeah, so the unemployment can go down. Yeah.
Australia is saying doctors and medical staff are leaving at a massive pace. To Australia and other countries, the private medical companies just offer them way more than New Zealand government can offer. It's a problem, yep.
Yes.
New Zealand are in very deep trouble when it comes to medical services. It is, and it's troublesome. It worries me a lot.
Yeah, it does. I mean, because the thing is, Jan, you and I are getting older, and we, and we're relying on the public health or the health system. And the thing is, you wonder if you go in and you hear some horror stories where people go in, they, and they have serious issues, but then there's no beds, there's no, nothing, and then they're sent home, and then something really major happens at home, where, it's just been negligence or whatever. So, yeah. What else? I think these changes, look, once these changes settle and people realize, okay, I came in, where ANSCO was not regarded, and I'm now on a level 4 or level 5, and maybe I should have been on a level 3. I think where employers have done their own job checks and didn't know how ANSCO fits in, okay, this is where a lot of people are going to get stuck, because they'll be applying for the maximum continuous stay. That's an additional 2 years to take them up to 5 years. This is where they're going to get stuck. Now, if you feel that the wrong ANSCO was used, the employer is unsure, I would say reach out to an immigration advisor that is very clued up on how ANSCO works. And to assess the job description itself or the position description, and maybe make a motivation or motivate why that needs to change from a level 4, if they were put on a level 4, to a level 3, which will give them that skilled role and give them that 2 year stay. So I think it's very important that, if you're stuck in that and you don't know what was used, speak to your employer, speak to an advisor, and then get some help on that. And we, by the way, we're about to launch a new product to the market. This is the advisor market and to the employers as well for ANSCO, where we literally troll, and I shouldn't say troll, but it's a database which has a lot of occupations, and you can spend hours on it, not knowing how they work. We actually have used AI to bring it down to minutes of being able to provide the results. It's an unbiased results system. And what it does is it tells you exactly where somebody fits in. and what you can compare it to. So we're going to be running demos on that around next week or the following week. But the tool is ready to be, or the product is ready to be launched soon. Yeah.
What did we do before AI?
Not much. We've been doing it the very old way, and this is the first time that immigration will actually have, or the industry will have something that reduces the time it takes to assess somebody, scope a role, and so on to give you the right stuff. And it's accurate. It does comparisons in the works. I've been testing it out, and it's working brilliantly.
All right, yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, time is come and gone. 3 minutes left.
I know. Is there any questions that may have come through from anybody?
No.
Because I know, like some people have received calls. Like, for instance, I received a call yesterday from somebody who was on an ANSCO level 4 role, but they've got an offer on an ANSCO level 2 role, and they were worried about what happens to them and their family and so on. Yeah. And in those instances, that because they're moving up and so on, and they've got the skills to be able to show that, they won't be affected by the changes announced yesterday.
All right. Yeah. Also, shout out to the people listening on YouTube this morning. If you are there, please click the like button and subscribe. We are bringing more of this every Thursday morning. So unfortunately, Vanita's not on here every Thursday morning. Or let me say, luckily not, because it's normally not good news when we're talking. So.
Look, I mean, honestly, I know people are like very upset about it. Advisors are upset about it, but the thing is, it's nothing new. It's always been there. Yeah.
But
so,
at the end of the day, I think this is just something that the advisors that are upset about this should have thought a bit forward and thinking it's probably that's going to happen. Probably. So
I'll tell you what, Jan. I think the advisors that are upset about it are the ones that have brought in the low-skilled people, because they just literally did visas without thinking about one, and without even considering what ANSCO level these people were on. They were just happy to sort of churn through. And there's some advisors that are transactional and they churn through and they don't think strategically about how this impacts somebody. And working through all of this throughout the years where ANSCO was ignored until now, I've made sure that and this is you can vouch for this personally, I've made sure that if somebody was put in too high, I've bumped them down, but not to an unskilled role where I know that this would affect them negatively going forward for residents and so on.
I can attest to that. So. Question from Brian van der Westhuizen asking, Vanita, do you work with people still in South Africa?
Yes, we work with everybody, all nationalities and so on, so yes.
Brian, I'm just popping Vanita's details on the screen now. People can contact her there, and if they want to send you a WhatsApp, they can contact me, and I'll give you out Vanita's telephone number for that.
Yeah, but my website has all my details on there, so they're welcome to contact me on that.
Vanita, thank you very much again.
Thank you.
It's always
a pleasure
to bring you on here. So you clear up stuff for me that is gray areas, because I do not like to talk about immigration myself. It's an area that changes so quickly. It's basically I will never be able to keep track of that. So that's why there's people like you, immigration advisors, that can do this for us.
Thank you.
All right, I'm just going to pop you out and say goodbye to everybody, and then I'll quickly chat to you afterwards.
Sure.
Thanks. All right, guys, that was Vanita. Thanks for listening this morning. If you are on my YouTube channel, please click like and subscribe, and let's take it from there. Thanks, Abe.